In today's video, we're going to be going over my top 10 edge rushers in the 2023 NFL draft. I got, like I said, kind of the same thing. If you watch my defensive tackle ranks, we're going to go top 10, and then we'll go ahead and break them into tiers at the end because I know some dudes are really close, and 5 and 6 might not really mean anything. They might be kind of the same player. So we're going to go ahead and get right into the edge rushers. Go ahead and get into the top 10, go 10 to 1, then I'll show you my tiers at the end, and let's just go ahead and get right into the video. Starting off our edge rankings, we're going to go with number 10. I got Derick Hall from Auburn. He's a really interesting dude, that like another dude where I just kind of started getting into the Derick Hall film and tape. Like, due to like the reason I started kind of like I was like, huh? Is I saw some of the videos of like his bag drills and stuff at his pro day, and this dude moves different. Like, he's a taller kind of dude, but like this dude moves. Like, he like just as a mover, he's one of the best in this class. I mean, just his hip fluidity and just his ability to get around, flip his hips, like bend. I mean, this dude's incredible, just at moving around, flipping the hips, like I said, all of that stuff. I love it. He's a very athletic dude off of the edge. Like I said, he's got great bend and great just feel for some of the tackles. He does have to work on his pass rush moves a little bit. I think, the reason he's here at 10 is because like he doesn't use his hands the best. But I mean, you get a dude with like his movement and athleticism along with his frame that he has. I mean, this is just a super high potential kind of player. And like another, like I've been saying with some of the other, like another just pure lottery ticket at the edge position where he might go higher than we maybe think, mostly just because like his upside, where like teams that think like, hey, if I get my hands on this dude and coach him up right, I mean, this dude's got the frame and movement of like an elite edge pass rusher in the league. So like, you're taking a risk on him, but he's a risk that I think could definitely be worth taking. Why I'm here at 10 in a really deep edge class. I mean, in top 10 is hard this year. I was going through and I'm surprised at the names that I left off this list, just because there's a lot of really good edge rushers. Might be the most deep position in this entire draft class. So Derick Hall is definitely one of the ones up there that you should definitely be looking at your team to draft this year. Coming in at number 9, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this one, but this is my dude in the draft, KJ Henry. Go check out my defensive gems video if you want to hear more in depth about KJ Henry. But like, this is one of my favorite dudes in the class. Where like, no, he's not the most athletic dude, but like, just as a defensive end and just understanding of how tackles play and just having a wide variety of moves, whether he has all the counters, the inside outside moves, he can bull rush, and just his understanding and feel in the run game and making big plays. I mean, KJ Henry's got all of that stuff. He doesn't have like the upside of like a Derick Hall or some of the other dudes in this class. But like, if you're just looking for a dude a solid defensive end that's going to make some plays and be a part of a good rotation in the NFL, I mean, that's what KJ Henry is. Like I said, I don't know if he probably won't be like a Pro Bowl, All Pro kind of dude, but like I know for sure he's going to get some production. He's going to have a career in the NFL as just a dude that can at least get some production and get some sacks and make some plays, because like this dude understands the defensive end position. Former 5-star coming out of high school, Like, KJ Henry's one of my dudes. I said, check out more in depth if you want to know about him. And I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with him all the way at 9, but personally, I see him as like a day 2 kind of dude, because like just that, he's just a surefire kind of dude. I'm very confident this dude's going to get some good production in the NFL. Now for number 8, we got Felix Anudike Uzomah. I believe that's how you say his name. Hopefully I said it right. But he's a dude where I was looking at him before the 2022 college season, and I really liked this dude. I kind of thought he would be like a first round pick. They kind of he had a quiet year at Kansas State in the 22-23 season, but like, I mean, this dude shows some things on films. He's just really really good with his hands. That's one of the things that really stood out on film. He's a longer dude and really knows how to use his length to his advantage. Another high upside, like I said, he's got a great frame for a defensive end. And do that, like another dude that teams are going to want to take a risk on, because like he's got, like I said, he's got like Derick Hall. He's got, not athletic as Derick Hall, but like he's got that frame and a good just understanding of football. And like I said, normally I think he could be a lot higher on a lot of boards for draft classes. But like I said, this is just such a deep defensive end class that him being at 8 isn't really a slight to him. It's more of just a nod to some of the dudes above him, because he's a really good defensive end prospect. It's just a really deep class and hard to really make a name. But he's a dude that like kind of got lost with some of the other dudes, and especially in the offseason when everyone's ooh-rahing about the combine. He's not, a combine warrior kind of dude, so he's kind of getting lost, but dude that you need to keep your eye on, because like he's definitely a good defensive end prospect. And another dude is probably going to be like an early day 2. I've seen some people put him in the first round, so like keep an eye out for this dude on draft day. Moving on to number 7, we got BJ Ojulari from LSU. He's a humongous dude. I mean, you watch this dude and he towers above everyone else. I mean, he's another dude that like just an explosive dude at LSU. I mean, he's a quick dude. You saw him make tons of chase down plays at LSU. Another dude that he has some pretty good hand fighting. I still think he could work on maybe some of his pass rush moves a little bit more. But like one of the things I think is that BJ Ojulari excelled at was some of the stunts and just movement across the front. So if he can go to a team that runs a lot of stunts, I think he could really excel in the NFL because like with his size and his movement ability, him on stunts and being able to penetrate, whether it's, stunts across face or whether he's just, penetrating one gap and telling him to just go upfield and be explosive and huge. I mean, that's exactly what he is and why he's coming at 7. Another dude that I didn't really get onto, I got onto him late, but I know like he's rising up as like a first round dude for a lot of people and a lot of mock drafts. I don't know how the NFL views him. I haven't really heard a lot about like how NFL teams view him, but I know a lot of people in the draft community are getting really high on this dude. He's probably a lot high. I think he's like top 5 on a lot of people's defensive edge rankings right now. I personally haven't gotten there yet. Maybe as we get closer to draft, he'll maybe get there. But like for me, he's still at 7. And like I said, really good defensive end prospect. But I just think there's a couple dudes better than him that we're going to get to ahead. Coming in at number 6, we got Will McDonald from Iowa State. He's a dude that's just an elite pass rusher. Like, I mean, this dude balled out at the Senior Bowl. He had a great combine performance. I mean, he's an athletic, really well-moving dude. He's got a wide variety. Like, I kind of said like BJ Ojulari and some of the other dudes like and Derick are athletic, but they kind of need to refine their pass rush. I think Will McDonald's got a really good pass rush variety already. He's got a nasty little spin move on him. And I think he just wasn't used in the way that he will be used in the NFL at Iowa State. They really kind of played him more as like a head up kind of 4 technique and 4-eye and kind of played him more inside as more of a truly heavy kind of player. Whereas I think he should just be on like a 5 or a wide 9 technique. Let him free, let him rush the passer and he'll get after it. I mean, this dude, like I said, one of the best just pure pass rushers in this class. He's still, got some things to work on in the run game. He's a lighter dude. He's not super heavy. But like when we're just talking about pass rush specialists, a dude that could come in and make some plays as a more of a pass rush specialist or like a DPR kind of play. I mean, Will McDonald's that dude who's going to make some big plays and get a lot of sacks probably over his NFL career. At number 5, we got KJ Henry's teammate, the 3rd Clemson defensive lineman to make my D-line rankings. We got Myles Murphy. He's another just complete freak. He's like 6'5". I don't remember his exact weight, but he's a bigger dude, long dude, really athletic. I mean, we didn't really get to see him perform at the combine, which I think he would have blown up the combine if he did perform. Like, I think there's rumors that he was up there with like, Trayvon Walker numbers. Like if you watch go ahead and watch my guys to watch at the combine video that I did. He was on there and I mentioned some of like his high school and, stuff that like projected that I thought he was going to have a really good combine, which I ended up calling a lot of really good combine performances. But I think he's a dude that would have had a really good combine. If he had the combine that I think he would have had, he would have been a consensus first rounder and still been here because like he was at the top. I mean, this dude was like a top 5 pick at the beginning of the process, and then slowly started falling. Then all of a sudden out of nowhere, people start falling in love with BJ Ojulari and Will McDonald and these guys, and all of a sudden he's not even in like first round for a lot of people. But like I think people are just, it's almost like recency bias. Like I just think we haven't seen Myles Murphy for a little bit. He hasn't made the headlines in a while, and I think he's kind of like a Sam Howell where like he had incredible film in 2021 and why he was like as like a top 5 kind of dude coming into this season, and then he kind of didn't have as great a 2022 film, but they changed schemes in there, and I think he's a dude with one of the highest potentials in his entire defensive end class. Like I said, he has a combine I thought he would have had, and I think he would have been a surefire first round, maybe even higher than 5 in my edge rankings, just because he's an elite athlete and just a humongous dude that'll make huge plays in the run. Got to refine some pass rush, but like at his size, I think he'll figure it out and just be an elite dude, hopefully someday in the NFL. Moving on to number 4. Now, you mentioned, I said Myles Murphy probably would have like risen up if he did the combine that I thought he would have had. We got a dude, Nolan Smith from Georgia, who did have the kind of performance that I thought Myles Murphy had and boosted himself a lot. I mean, dude, it's sad to see we didn't get to see him in the 2022 college season because he got hurt in the first game of the season against Oregon. But like, I mean, he kind of just one of those just freak athletes. I mean, he might be one of the most athletic edges we've seen in a while in the draft. I mean, this dude athletically is just up there. He ran into the almost like 4.4s, like 4.39 or 4.38 40, which is nuts. I mean, for like a dude his size to be running that, he's like I said, great locker room dude. Everyone loves him off the field at Georgia. One of the captains for that team. I just think he's going to go a lot higher than people. I know people are talking about him at 10 for the Eagles. Like, don't be surprised if this dude is a top 15 pick. We know the NFL after Trayvon Walker last year loves their athletic edge rushers. Nolan Smith could be a top 10 pick when all is said and done. I have him here at 4. There's a couple dudes I like a little more above him, but like when it's all said and done, don't be surprised if this dude sneaks into the top 10 somehow, because he's just an elite athlete, and we know the NFL loves those kind of dudes. I personally wouldn't take him in the top 10, but we know the NFL loves those kind of dudes, and they're the ones making the picks. I'm not. So we'll see how it goes on draft day with him. Coming in at number 3, we got LUKAS Van Ness from Iowa. Another dude I see similar to Nolan Smith in that kind of territory. Not a freaky athlete like him, but this dude, although he's a very good athlete, LUKAS Van Ness, he's your power rusher of this class, kind of like George Karlaftis from last class. I mean, this dude, when it comes to power, he is what they say Iowa strong. I mean, this dude, like grass, corn fed and bred, straight, perfect kind of Iowa player you got in LUKAS Van Ness. Great power rusher, makes some great plays in the run game, doesn't get moved. I mean, he's a dude he's one of the biggest risers since like before the season to now, as a dude that's probably like a top 20 pick in the NFL. I mean, I see him with a lot of good fits in like Detroit and Tennessee, 2 of the fits I kind of see as teams that I could definitely see taking him in the top 20, or even Philly at 10 is another option for him. But like, this dude's going to go a lot higher. Teams love him. NFL draft dudes love him. I think he has good film. I think he's in a similar tier, like I said, to Nolan Smith. But like, yeah, I think he's definitely at 3. I know some people love him, but like, he's in a tier. I mean, we're gonna get to our next 2 players. They're on a different tier, but like I said, deep class of edge rushers. I don't know if that hurts LUKAS Van Ness because he's a very good one, but at the same time, like, you're looking at day 2, you're looking at dudes that I think could be close to him. I think he's above the dudes I've mentioned, but like, one of the things I want to mention is like this DN class. I don't think there's a big gap between 3 and 10. I think there is a gap, which is why I have them separated, but I don't think there's a big gap. And I think that could kind of hurt a dude like LUKAS Van Ness, where like team might be say, hey, we're going to attack another position in the first round because we can get a dude, like Derick Hall in the second round who, he's not as good as LUKAS Van Ness, but he's close. Whereas like, so I can attack another position where there might be a bigger drop off, like offensive tackle. And, LUKAS Van Ness, it could hurt him, but like, he's a very good talent nonetheless, and why he's coming in at number 3 on my edge rankings. Coming in at number 2, I don't think my top 2 are going to be a surprise to anyone. Coming in at number 2, we got Tyree Wilson, the American freak. He's kind of like the Greek freak, but like the American freak, Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech. I mean, he's a dude that I think he's like 6'7", humongous dude, big project player, but like his size and athleticism is something like uncanny. Like, there's a reason this dude's high. I know the one thing I kind of want to talk about in these top 2, because everyone knows these top 2 are your top 2. I don't think I really need to talk about like what they do well that much, but I want to talk about the discourse between Will Anderson and Tyree Wilson. Yeah, spoiler alert, Will Anderson's number 1, but like, some people are putting Tyree Wilson as their number 1 edge rusher. I personally don't agree with that, and hence why I have him at number 2, but I do think it is close. And they're both just elite pass rushers that are definitely, I think, surefire top 10, maybe even top 5 picks. Kind of depends on how the quarterbacks fall out. But like, Will Anderson and Tyree Wilson could be the first 2 non-quarterbacks off the board. I do think that's how it goes in this draft class, as them being the first non-quarterbacks off the board, especially with Jalen Carter, all this stuff happening with him. That kind of helps Tyree Wilson kind of jump up a slot. But like, an elite talent. Like I said, I don't need to go into everything about him, but he's at number 2 for a reason. And now I got a shocker for you guys at number 1 probably coming up. Shocker of the video, Will Anderson is my number 1 edge rusher. Like I said, some people got Tyree Wilson, but I think just Will Anderson showed over his college career. I mean, being a true sophomore and being maybe the best player in college football as a true sophomore, and then putting on another good junior campaign. I mean, this dude's just, he's effective in every way. Run, pass, dude put unreal pressure numbers. Like, this dude was getting the quarterback at unreal rates in the SEC, nonetheless, against elite talent. Like, I mean, Tyree Wilson was doing those things in the Big 12. I mean, Will Anderson is doing this in the SEC against the best of the best. putting up elite numbers, elite pass rushers. He's probably, if we take into fact Jalen Carter's character concerns and stuff, Will Anderson probably vaults him now as my number one player in this entire draft class, regardless of position. I know some people are a little iffy about some things about him. I don't know why. I think people just overthink players like Will Anderson a lot. I think people want to find something wrong with some of these guys when they're like so consensus number one. Like people started trying to do that with Trevor Lawrence and like Chris Sims put like Zach Wilson above him. Like people try and find stuff wrong about these dudes when just stop overthinking. Will Anderson's that dude. He's the number one edge rusher in this class, and he's going to be an all-pro dude one day. I surely believe that, and he's the best player in this class regardless of position, in my opinion. Anyway, you can see here on the screen, I got my whole edge rankings laid out after it's said and done. Like I said, my first tier, Will Anderson, Tyree Wilson. Those are your two top 5 kind of dudes in this class. Then we got a next tier of LUKAS Van Ness and Nolan Smith, who I could see going anywhere from like picks 8 to like 20. Somewhere in that range. I think those are your next tier of dudes. And then I have on my graph, I made this a couple days ago, I have Myles Murphy and Will McDonald's their own tier. I think I would slide BJ Ojulari up into that tier now as your kind of late first round dudes. I think with elite talent compared with elite athleticism on these dudes. And, your late kind of first. And then if we move BJ Ojulari up, we got 8 through 10. We got Felix, KJ Henry, and Derick Hall kind of rounding out your probably day 2 kind of dudes. Like I said, it's a really deep class. I know there's dudes I didn't even mention in this video that, could be up here. But these are my top 10 in my tiers for how I would kind of tier them out as the top 10. With all that being said, let me know other guys you got. I know like Tuli Pelotu from USC is another dude I didn't mention that a lot of people have. I haven't really gotten too in-depth into him. So maybe as it comes, he slides more up. Like he's my kind of honorable mention, I guess I'll say. But that's going to do it for my edge rankings. If you're wondering where Adi Tamiwa was, another dude who I know a lot of people are probably like, where is he? He was in my DT rankings I did the other day, so go check out that. I personally see him more as a defensive tackle, not as an edge rusher, so that's why I don't have him here. But that's my top 10 for my edge. Let me know what you guys thought. Dudes, like I said, didn't mention any other orders you guys think. Go ahead and hate on me for KJ Henry, but that's my dude. I'm going to stick with him throughout it all. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one and enjoy all the content that's coming out because it's coming like a wildfire until the draft.